Hi YouTube, ACDodd here, and welcome to another episode of On the Road Tuning with me, ACDodd, and this time I've got another two minis for you. Let's get stuck in. Well, we're in Bracknell, and we've got yellow car bash. Bright yellow, late 80s, lovely car. Look at that, 45,000 miles. Nice 998 A plus. I don't think it's it's been touched before, so somebody's been in there and done some work. Obviously the engine's been painted, but it's got a stage 1 kit. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Neil. Neil's the owner of this lovely bright yellow Mini. So why have you called us down today, Neil?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I've had the car about 4 months now. Enjoying the car, but it's just never really driven how I'd expected the Mini to drive. It's very hesitant. Takes a long time for to warm up on clutch.
Yep.
Yeah, so ACDodd services, I've heard of him, so I wanted him down to see what he could do.
Wonderful. So you've bought the car like this. I think you've not done anything to it. Is that right?
No, the car is completely as I bought it. I've not done anything to it myself.
Okay. Well, let's stop talking about it and let's get stuck in.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So over to the spark plugs, and we find an interesting arrangement of colours. So the left two are cleaner and the right two are dark. So I think we've got a number of issues going on here, one of which may be an air leak, but I think we've also got a coil power issue. We've also got spark plug gaps that are huge, so we need to sort those out, and we've got the wrong heat range. We're running 6s and this is a 998. So yeah, as usual, the owner's tried to done the right thing and gone out and fitted a set of spark plugs, but he's been sold the wrong set for the car. So we'll get those changed and we'll put a fresh set of 5s in, gapped at 25 thou. We may be changing the ignition system yet, but I don't know that yet until I've done the check the advance curve. So let's crack on and see what we find. So here I am reading the spark plugs. Now, the important thing to understand about reading spark plugs is if the combustion's not right, the heat range isn't right, you're not going to be able to read the spark plug. So the important thing to understand is you don't just look at the end and go, that's what's happening, because that's not how it works. What you've got to do is understand what's going on with the engine and, things like coil power and, what you're seeing on the end of the plugs. Maybe timing, things like that. All these things will have an effect on the colour, okay? So just because it looks a certain thing doesn't mean it actually is. So what we need to do first is we have to go through the engine, baseline the ignition system, make sure it's working, and then we can start reading the plugs once the engine is working properly. So digging into this one, where do I start? Obviously, we've already seen the plugs, so I've changed those. I've got some BP5s in there now. The coil was underpowered for the system that we already had, but the advance curve in this is too long and too slow. So in reality, we're going to fit another Dizzy, one of my ACDodd high power recurved power spark units. And therefore, we're going to change that 3 ohm coil, which actually, this one's actually a 2.7, but we're actually going to change this to a 0.8. So we're going to bring this right up to the 90s, nice high power ignition. And then obviously we'll turn our attention to the carburetor. So, as I said, a whole smorgasbord of faults there, which basically means we're better off just to replace the ignition. So I only carry the high power ones with me. So obviously it's a recurved 59D for this engine. So I will fit that, and that will solve a myriad of problems and also boost the coil power. As we've seen, the car's fitted with a 2.7 ohm currently with a coil, and that is just not going to be enough power when it's idling. That's one of the reasons why we got spark plug colours that we got. So we need, as I said before, to read plugs, you need to take from the plugs. What we've seen is there is insufficient coil power, so we're going to sort that out now by putting a high power system in it, bring it right bang up to date, and then we can carry on with the tune. Okay, so yeah, what we did in the end is change it all. So we got 0.8 ohm coil, one of my recurve power spark high power units, Engine's all running again, got it timed in at 8 degrees static, and we got 29 full in, so that's pretty good for this one. Now we're going to turn our attention to the carburetor. Oh, and just while I remember, yes, I did gap these at 25. Now I've taken them back out and I've re-gapped the plugs at 35 to match the new high power coil. So let's get stuck in with the fueling. So we're over on the needle lathe, and one of the things that we need to understand about this car is it was, although stage 1 kit fitted, somebody had left the original needle in it. So it was way short, about probably 30% short of the fuel it needed to be right away across the rev range. So terrible running. So I took the AAC needle out, I put in an AAF, and that's actually not too bad. But what I have done is I've just added some fuel from progression up to full power. So we'll pop that back in, and I think she's ready for a test drive. So I still see these every now and then. We get the odd car in that's got a stage 1 kit on it, and whoever's fitted it hasn't fitted the needle. So they've got the standard needle in there, they fitted all the parts, it leans the car out even further and just makes it drive even worse. So in this scenario, once you fit a stage 1 kit, you're actually better off not fitting the stage 1 kit if you don't change the needle. So you need to increase the fuel in to match that extra airflow provided by that kit. Otherwise you end up with terrible performance, which is exactly what this customer has experienced. So just to recap, we're all done. So we put a 0.8 ohm coil, we got a high power ACDodd recurve power spark dizzy, all the vacuums on and connected and working as it should. We got BP fire spark plugs gapped at 35 thou. The original leads are still on it. Moving over to the carburetor. The carburetor is actually pretty good, but we had the wrong needle, so it was the original needle. So I've changed it to an AAF needle, and we've now profiled that. And I also had to change the dashboard. So it had 2050 in it. I've now put straight SAE 50 in. She's on the money. So we're going to send Neil out in it and see what he thinks. So another one, interestingly, that the oil in the dash pot was insufficient. So what I mean by that is we had to thicken it up. So I went for straight 50 weight oil to actually get enough accelerator pump effect there to get that actual fueling correct on acceleration. So it's one of the things that people overlook is they just go, oh, what's the best oil? I keep telling people the best oil for your SU is the oil required to get the fuel enrichment that you need on acceleration. What that means is you have to measure it to work out what it actually is. Right, so Neil's been out in his car and you can already see the smile, which is fantastic. So what's it like now, Neil?
Oh, everyone says night or day. I don't want to use that quote, but it is what it is. It is definitely night and day. Absolutely brilliant. For the first time, I pushed it down the A road, it got pushed back in the seat. It's never done that. Yeah, 100%.
So clearly 100%. More power, no flat spots?
No flat spots.
All
just
that,
the whole drivability of it is a nice place to be in drive now.
Yeah.
Just you cruising behind another car, yeah, it's nice. It's not holding back or anything. It's
no, that's right, because I think you mentioned at the beginning that it was fluffy, and all that's gone, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. You put your foot down, the response is there straight away.
Wonderful. Okay. So would you recommend this to anyone else?
100%. 100%. Okay. It's definitely worth it.
All right then. Yeah. Well, all I can say is thanks for getting me down to look at your nice car. I
recommend you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you can see the owner was very happy with the work I've done on the car there. What I didn't do was show the colour of the spark plugs, but I did pull one of them out to show the owner so he could see that the plugs are cleaned up. In essence, that car performed way better than what it did when I first arrived, purely because it was just lacking ignition power and its fueling was miles out. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the next car. So where am I today? Well, today we're up in Worcester and we've got a lovely little road racer. So yeah, lovely little car, this one. Nice little 10-inch wheels. Nice little late model Cooper. So under the bonnet we have a built engine. So it's a modified cylinder head. It's got 1.5 rockers on it, I believe, and a Newman phase 2 or thereabouts camshaft. So yeah, this should go very well. Let's go and speak to the owner, see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is Nick. So why have you called us down today, Nick?
So the engine was rebuilt about 3,500 miles ago. It's now at 1293. It was set up from new on the rolling road, but I was a little bit disappointed with the figures. It seems to drive okay, but I don't think it's quite all there yet. So,
yeah, fair enough. I'll say we'll show everybody the graph later, but it's basically producing not much more than stock power. So I can see why you might be a bit disappointed about that.
Yeah.
But let's dig in and see what's going on here as to why that might be like it is, or indeed if you have an engine fault or we've got a fault with the rolling road. All right.
That sounds great.
All right, let's dig in. Okay, so what we've got here is a customer that's obviously built a new engine for his car a little while ago, and yet another customer that's called me out because they've had probably not a satisfactory experience with a rolling road tune. So this is getting very common. I'm being called out to cars that have been rolling road tuned and they're not running well, or there's problems, etc., etc. So this is a thing. So choose your rolling road tuners wisely, because from what I'm seeing, there's a lack of competence out there that's not able to get these cars running as they should. So getting into this one, I have actually changed the lead. So the owner already had a set of Power Spark leads that he had provided, so he just wanted them changed. The leads that were on it were actually a good resistance, but he wanted the new leads fitted, so that's no problem. We've got a high power ignition system. We've got a H&H Ignitions recurve distributor. We had a set of BP6 plugs. Let's go and have a look at those. So we had a set of BPR6ES plugs in there. As you can see, actually numbers 1 and 4 don't look too bad. 2 and 3 look a little bit richer. Now it's just done a cold start, so I'm gonna just assume we've been running a little bit rich there. So what I'm interested in to see is how they clean up. What I have done though is, because of the state of tuners of the engine, I think 6s might be a bit hot. So what I'm going to do is, what I've already done is put a set of non-resistor 7s in there. So BP7ES plugs, gapped at 35 thou. The plug gap on these was all good. So with that being said, let's crack on with the tune. So just looking at the plugs there, one of the things the owner told me is he tends to drive quite hard when he's using the car. So I kind of erred on the side of caution and put in a set of 7 spark plugs. I also said to the owner that he may have to change that back to 6s depending on how they run. We'll see at the end how they run after the test drive. But the point is, I don't actually know what plugs an engine's going to need, because it really depends on how the car's used. But when it's at this potential tuning level where it can actually produce quite a bit of power, you sometimes find that you need the cooler plug. So I erred on the side of caution. We put some 7s in it, obviously non-resistors. Let's see how we get on. So, continuing on the ignition system, I've found we got a few issues. So, first one I found is distributor-wise, we're only making 24 degrees of timing. So, I think with this spec, we should be around 27 degrees. So, clearly I'll need to add some more advancing. But the other thing is the vacuum unit is defunct and it's not providing any additional vacuum advance. So, first thing I'm going to do is change that before we move on. Remember people, this has been to a rolling road. As we can see, that's idle. That's already bore washing, so we need to pull some fuel out of that. Okay, I just included that clip there because that was the idle fueling. Now, I just want to clarify what we're seeing here. Just because I said on there that obviously it's been to a rolling road, that was a while ago. So that doesn't necessarily mean it was set like that. But 0.79, 0.80 when it's idling is actually, you know, it's illegal in terms of the mixture. So this car wouldn't pass a roadside emissions check if it got caught, which is, you know, which is bad. I wouldn't have thought the carburetor would have moved that much. in the time that the car has been on the road. However, you know, these things happen. But the point I'm trying to say is, my concern here is that whoever set that engine up had left it too rich at idle. So just checking the fueling, as we've already seen there, very rich at idle. So I'll back that off to about 0.95 when it's idling, and now we've got a sea of leanness all the way up. So I'm going to have a look inside the carb, and I'm going to have a closer look, but purely because the mixture screw is very sensitive on this one. So clearly something's not quite right inside the carb. So let's have a dig in, see what we can find. So why have I got 3 carb springs here? Well, the carb spring in the middle is the one that come out of it. Okay, so this has been rebuilt. Now the problem is the one in the middle, it's supposed to be a red spring because it's got the same pressure as a red spring. Unfortunately, a rebuilt spring, the one on the left, is a brand new red spring from Berlin. Now, as you can see, I think what's happened here is somebody's taken the spring, the rebuilder's taken the spring that was in the carb, and they've just plated it to make it look new, right? And these are the sort of gags that people do when they rebuild carbs, and they say that they're rebuilt. That's not rebuilt at all. That's just plating worn out junk, okay? And they're making it look new, and in fact it isn't. So a new spring, okay, costs about 12 quid, okay? So if you have a rebuilt carb, make sure you're getting new, genuine parts. Now, clearly, they do this to save money and keep the cost down on the rebuild. And people say to me, well, how comes your carbs cost more money? Well, because they have new bits in, okay? Or they have bits that have been tested to give the right ratings. Now, I'm actually going to change to a yellow spring. Now, don't be fooled by the difference in length, right? This is a much higher rate on than either of these two. So all I'm saying is, when you're going for a carb rebuild, always make sure that you're getting what you pay for. So I've stumbled on something else that I'm finding a lot as well now, which is rebuilt carbs aren't necessarily what you think they are. So what somebody does is they take them apart and they plate everything and make it shiny and put it all back together. And there's actually very little new parts inside. So what you're actually buying is a cleaned, replated carburetor that's not been rebuilt. So I just need to let people know that you know, there are people out there that just clean stuff and put it back together and you know, sell it on as rebuilt, when in actual fact all it is cleaned and replated so it looks like new. So got this one dialed in. Just to recap, coil was all good. I changed the spark plugs for a set of non-resistor BP7s. I changed the vacuum unit because the one that was in it was punctured and it wasn't producing any vacuum at all. We also changed the leads, not that we needed to, but the customer wanted me to, so that's fine. It's got a set of power sparks on it. Let me change our attention to the carburetor. The carburetor itself, although it's been rebuilt, obviously had the problem with that spring, but also it's a bit wandery on fueling. So rather than tell the customer, you know, or sell them a new carb, I think this carburetor has been rebuilt, but it hasn't got the full shaft seals. So I've told him to fit the full shaft seals and then fit a regulator, and I think that will solve the problem. But needle wise, obviously we changed to a yellow spring, but I've got a BCF needle and we needed a little bit more fuel at 3,000 and 4,000 revs, but she's on the money now. And we had ATF oil in the damper and I haven't touched that, so she's spot on. Let's give it a quick rev and send the owner out in it. It sounds quite aggressive now, so hopefully it should go rather well. So yeah, one further issue with that carburetor is it was struggling to control the fueling, and when I looked at it, somebody hadn't put the right shaft seals in, which is what I use, which is the full shaft seals to stop the air going in and leaning out the fuel mix. So again, if they hadn't changed the spindle or the bushes, then clearly there's going to be issues. So this carburetor not only had that spring issue, but it also had an air leak on the throttle shaft, which was causing an issue. But rather than selling the guy a new carburetor, what I actually told him to do, as I said in the video there, is to replace the spindles replace the spindle seals with the full sealed type, and then that would solve the issue, and he would have a better running carburetor. So, dyno graph. This engine has been dynoed. Now, the interesting thing is it was dynoed with all those, or potentially most of those faults, including wrong spring in the carb and all the rest of it. Now, as we can see, power-wise, not particularly great. You know, sort of 80 horsepower or just under. Now, the interesting thing is this engine wouldn't have produced that with the bits and pieces that were on it. So I have a feeling now, the guy's out for a test drive, we shall see how much better it was than when it was dynoed. And this is the thing that we're finding now, is a lot of dyno people don't really know what they're doing when they set them up. And this engine is going to go a lot better than what that dyno graph suggests. Okay, so I pulled number 2 spark plug as my usual, and let's have a quick look at what we look like after the test drive. And we can see that's a 7 spark plug, that's running clean. So yeah, very happy with that. Let's go and speak to the owner. Okay, so Nick's been out in his car now, and I think there's a wry smile coming through. So what's it like now, Nick?
It's a totally different car. So although it's set up on a rolling road originally, it's completely different now. It's smoother, it's quieter, it picks up better from lower down the rev range, and it just accelerates quicker. So it's just a completely different car, basically.
Has it got more power when you put your foot hard down as well?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting, isn't it? When you go to a rolling road and you think you're paying the money to get what you want, and actually the reality is you're not getting anywhere near what could be got by a proper tune. Yeah. Okay. Also interesting, you mentioned about noise, because it is worth mentioning that you'd asked me to, you wanted the standard airbox on. And because of the noise it was making, and obviously now we've gone back to an MED air filter because your engine needs that airflow. And what's the noise difference now?
Well, the induction noise is almost gone unless you really bury your foot in the floor, and certainly around town can't hear any induction noise at all.
Yeah.
All I can hear is the exhaust, so it's a lot quieter. Yeah. So cruising at sort of 60-70, I can hear myself talk and think. So it's much improved.
Yeah, okay, so that's very interesting. So I've been trying to say to people that, don't judge the noise of an open air filter or a drilled airbox until the thing's been tuned, and I think you've just seen that.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So all that needs to be said now, would you recommend this to anyone else?
Absolutely, yeah. Don't go anywhere else.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you calling me up to look at your car.
That's great, thanks for coming.
Yeah, interesting to see what Nick said there about quiet air filter. That's the air filter on this car, and you can see that's a bareback open filter. And he actually said there's barely any intake roar now after it's been tuned, and that's my point. Don't judge the noise that the engine produces until it's been tuned properly. Okay, so there was another customer there that was surprised, obviously, the difference after the tune. And obviously, in this case, as we said, he's been to a rolling road to have that set up originally, and it went nothing like it does now. So, as I said before, choose your rolling road tuner. If you want to use one, that's absolutely fine by me, but just make sure that you go to somebody who knows what they're doing. And obviously the other thing here is, what I didn't say at the beginning of the video is that owner there particularly asked me about fitting a standard airbox because he was concerned about the noise and didn't like it. And actually I said to him, well, in reality, I think the problem we've got here is the carburetor's not tuned and the engine's not running properly. So it's going to make a lot more induction roar because your foot's not in the right place when you're driving the car, your foot's further down. So it's making a sort of a gasping sound. So as we can be seen there, I had him fit the air filter back on while I was doing the ignition work, and then obviously I tuned the engine, and he went out and drove it, and you can hear the results from him that he couldn't believe how much better the noise was after tuning. So that also, if you've got a lot of induction roar from your carburetor from your SU, that is also telling you that there is potentially a problem with the tune of the engine. So with all that being said, hopefully you enjoyed that. As ever, please like, subscribe, share, ring that notification bell, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Thank you very much.